Welcome to the SVG-TV news for Saturday, September 27th. I'm Khalil Kato. As SVG seeks to formulate a document for disaster risk reduction, it has been pointed out that this initiative must be about building capacities to enable Vincentians to live with disasters. This is the view of Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Nathaniel Williams, who was at the time addressing the opening of a two-day national validation workshop on the draft document. Williams also pointed out to the participants at the workshop that building resilience must not be a seasonal activity.
We're thinking about hurricane season and our activities surrounding those areas. Today, most of the storm and disasters we have faced over the past years have been outside of the hurricane season and have been more unexpected disaster events than usually in the past. It means, therefore, building resilience must not be a seasonal activity, but must be inherent in the culture of our people, the way we build, the way we farm, and the way we exist. I would therefore argue it must be highlighted that the agencies of state, along with NGOs such as the Red Cross and other service groups, continue to develop capacities. The brunt of the work to be done, in my views, lies with individual action by every national and resident who must see disaster risk reduction as his or her responsibility, and the state system as a complement and supplement.
Noting that government has and continues to play its part in disaster risk reduction, Williams made it clear that government should not be the sole and exclusive agent to deal with such an important national matter. He says non-governmental organizations, community-based groups, and institutions such as the church must see themselves as partners in this venture.
Government is not an individual. Government is an apparatus construed by the individuals of the various states. The implementation, therefore, has to be done by warm bodies, individuals. Hence, I ask churches not to think about disasters as some kind of eschatological view, but rather to look at disaster reduction as critical in human solutions to the problem. The issue here is that they have a critical role to play in socializing their membership, because they do wield a fair amount of influence and should be brought into the mainstream of teaching the average Vincentian what it is disaster is all about and what are the necessary actions we have to really take to ensure that we are able to address and redress those issues which affects us.
Meanwhile, the director of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, Howie Prince, says while a lot of focus has been placed in preparing Vincentians for disasters like hurricanes, not much has been done in terms of preparation for a volcanic eruption. Prince pointed out that the La Soufrière volcano remains an active one and that the people who were responsible for responding to the last eruption in 1979 are no longer in the system. Since then, a lot has changed, and it is imperative that they keep up with the changing times.
The communication systems are better, but better can also be worse, because if there's an eruption of La Soufrière volcano, the first thing that people are going to do is jump on their cell phones and their landlines and say, you know it erupting, Soufrière erupting, yes, you're here, you're not here. That crashes the system, overload. So although the communication systems are better now, it puts us even in a worse situation of being able to communicate in times when we need it most. Therefore, we have to do many other things to build the redundancy that's necessary and to prepare all the people who live in those areas to be able to respond appropriately to avoid chaos and to be sure that if we must move 20,000 or more persons, that we do it as effortlessly as possible. That process requires having to go on the ground, meet with these people, with everybody, talk with them, and updating a plan that we'd never use. We understand that if you don't use plans, they are just pieces of paper sitting on a table that's virtually useless. And therefore, in this year, we're working on that process.
The country document for disaster risk reduction is envisioned to be useful as an important national reference document to guide the design of policies and strategies, promote decision-making, and formulate DRR actions and activities for bringing about sustainable development, as well as facilitate the establishment of channels for mutual help and cooperation. Teachers across the country are being further encouraged to find innovative ways to assist children to acquire the skill of reading. This was the message from Senior Education Officer Maureen Williams while addressing the opening ceremony of the local leg of the 6th Annual Courts OECS Reading Competition yesterday.
Maybe an area of neglect is that of oral reading, where each child is given the opportunity to read aloud on a regular basis. This has been shown to improve fluency and accuracy in reading, and teachers may need to develop a program to ensure that each child gets the opportunity to read aloud individually at least once per week. Of course, ensuring that the material is carefully selected and so is appropriate for the child's age and level.
Williams says parents and guardians also have a role to play in encouraging children in encouraging reading among their children by creating the opportunities for them to read aloud as often as they can.
Opportunities around. Get them to read for you in the supermarket. Get them to read at home as they prepare little meals, as they make some drink. Let them read what's on the box. Let them read the proportions, and let them read aloud to you. The use of the technology, as in multimedia projectors, we're seeing an increase in churches and at presentations also serve as occasions to improve reading. The introduction of the Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment has formalized the use of such mediums as book reports and projects that will also provide opportunities for the improvement in reading. I sincerely want to, on behalf of the Ministry of Education, thank the schools for their participation in this very important competition, and in particular the teachers for the preparation that would have gone into getting these students ready for this competition. I look forward to seeing a greater representation of boys in the upcoming competitions.
This year's winner of the local leg of the reading competition is Rihanna Harry, who will represent SVG in the regional finals to be held in Grenada on October 16th. Several students in the Schools Cooperative program will be recognized next week for their financial achievements at the National Schools Cooperative Awards 2014. The award ceremony will take place on Tuesday from 9 a.m. at the Peace Memorial Hall and will hear addresses from several senior public servants and leaders of the cooperative sector. The objectives of the event are to highlight the importance of thrift in the growing and development of the Schools Cooperative program, that should be in the growth and development of the Schools Cooperative program, and to recognize schools cooperatives as a platform for early youth entrepreneurship.